everybody, it's Jeff with AZ Camera Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about the Secret 1080p bullet security camera. Now, that's this camera right here, and the reason why I decided to try this one out was because it's got a 2 megapixel sensor that's 1920 by 1080, but it's got a 4-in-1 feature which allows you to do AHD, HD-TVI, CVI, and 960 CVBS for analog DVRs. It's got a 100-foot IR distance, and I figured, you know what? Let's check it out. So let's look and see what's inside the box. First of all, when you open up the box, you get what looks like a camera wrapped in a white foam. And let's just kind of take it out and see what we've got. We've got the camera, and it says on the side Secret, and Secret is spelled S-E-C-R-T, which is an interesting way to spell secret. Let's pull the plastic cover off because we're not going to need that. And then we've got a cable which has your regular B and C. You've got your power, and then you've got this little switchable thing here which has 2 switches, which by changing the switches you can change the actual resolution of the camera, and I'll get into that here a little bit later. Now let's see what else is in the box. We put this down. Okay, so also in the box is some mounting hardware, and it looks like a little hex key which you'll use to make your adjustments on the camera. And oops, we just dropped the mounting hardware, and basically what the key will do is it will adjust the mount. And looking at the mount, I think we're going to be talking a little bit more about that mount later, because I don't know if I really like the way the mount is constructed. If you've seen some of my other videos on the cameras, the mount that's integrated into the camera is built a little bit better than this one, and I can see that the reason why I don't like it is because there's a split here, and this whole area is open, which could allow for water intrusion, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Now, the one more thing that's in the box is you've got a little manual, and that's basically what's in the box. So let's go into detail and see what's going on with this camera. I actually like the camera's design. It's got a very sleek look, but as to how watertight it is, I have no idea. Only time will tell. But the one thing that I didn't like, as I said, was the actual camera mount, which allows for water intrusion on the bottom and on the top. If you have a direct rain and the water is coming down on the top of this, water could seep back into the box that I'm connecting it to. Okay, so let me explain why I really don't like this mount. Number one is because it's open, and number two, it's in 2 pieces. So let me explain about how I like to mount my security cameras. Now, this one, I'm going to take it apart so you can see what the problem is. Okay, what it is this mount is made in 2 pieces, and it doesn't have a screw thread on here. Now, most cameras that I like to work with have a screw mount similar to this, okay? And it's a totally sealed system, just like this electrical dusk to dawn light does. Some use a screw, some use a small thumb screw, whatever. But what this allows you to do is I like to use these type of boxes to mount my cameras. So what happens is you can take something that's threaded like this, that a lot of cameras come like this, you can just screw it into this hole, and then you can fill the other holes with a slug, so then that way you can close the other hole. And it doesn't allow for any water to get in. Whereas when you have something like this, you've got this split, and it'll always allow weather to get in. The other thing is it doesn't have a screw mount on it, which I don't like. Now, here's another thing. I mean, it's not totally horrible. What you can do is you'll notice that this part right here is towards the top, but you can get around that. So what you would do is you just rotate this so that's towards the bottom. Tighten up both these screws that I showed you, like so. Okay. Tighten this screw up. And then what you can do is, instead of going like this, and you see the camera's on the bottom, what you do is you just unscrew this screw here, loosen it a little bit, loosen this screw, and then what you can do is you can take your camera and you can rotate it. So now this was like this, so you can take the camera and you can rotate it this way. So now you can adjust it. But still, what's happening is, even though if you have it locked in this position, like so, okay, so this is like this, you still have a split in the top where water can get into, and it can feed the water back into this and go into the box. Now, let me show you something about how I like to mount these. Now, since I can't mount it on a box like this, because we've got this strange kind of mount, what I need to do is I need to mount it on a box like this. So I've already cut a hole in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cable and I'm going to run it inside this box, and then what I'm going to have to do is mount this onto this box, drill a couple of holes, and this is how I'm going to have to mount this particular unit. Now, this wire will go inside the box, but now what I'm going to have to do is build a custom unit for this, as opposed to being able to just screw it in to a box like this. So now that we have the camera mounted on the box, we're going to put it up into position. But the one thing that I want to tell you folks is that, as you'll notice, I'm going to have this side down. So I have this little indentation here, and I have this mounted towards the bottom. So if the weather comes over the top, there will be as little water intrusion as possible. The other thing that I'll probably do is shoot a little silicone into the top edge of this, and once I get this adjusted the way I want it, I'll probably put a little silicone around there to keep the water from going into the actual camera. Now, I'm going to show you where I'm going to mount it. But before we actually mount it, I'm going to show you the settings and show how you can set this camera to different modes. So I had mentioned to you the reason why I bought this camera was because it had various resolutions, and you can switch between the resolutions really easy. You'll see that there's actually 3 connectors here. Like I said, there's the BNC, this is the power, and this is the resolution cable. Now, on here, it shows you how to switch the resolutions. So what you'll do is you just pull open this cap, and you'll see there's the number 1 and number 2. So if you follow your keys, your switch combinations will be as follows. CVBS will be 2 switches up. CVI will be switch 1 down and switch 2 up. TVI will be both switches down, and AHD will be 1 up and 2 down. Now I'm going to be mounting the camera up over here, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize one of these kind of connectors, which is an RJ45, okay? And with that RJ45, I'm going to be utilizing one of these Ballon connectors, which I've talked about in the past, which makes it real simple for running your video through Cat5e back to your DVR. So now we've got everything prepped. I've got my box on the wall, and I decided what I was going to do was mount it up and down as opposed to side to side. I've brought my RJ45 in through the top of the box, and I've got it secured. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the actual camera, and I have the camera already mounted, as you can see on the plate, and I have some gasket material behind it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the balloon that we hooked to the video and to the power, and what we're going to do is we're going to plug that into the RJ45. So let me turn that around. As you can see, I'm going to just snap that in. And now what we'll do is we'll put this as far into the bottom as we possibly can, and we'll thread in the wire so that it all fits into the box like so. Now, one thing that I was mentioning to you before, you'll see I've got this little hole towards the bottom, and then I've got the hole that's in the bottom of the gimbal, and I've got that at the bottom also. So now let's line everything up and screw it together. Okay, set this all up, and it's extremely hard to do this with one hand while trying to hold tools. So we'll line up this one hole, we'll line up this hole, which is good, and then we'll line up the screw like so, and we'll put the first screw in. Okay. You're probably seeing the back of my bald head. And we're going to screw this one in. Okay, we're screwing that one in. We're not going to tighten it too much because we want to make sure that we have all our gaskets all set. Then we'll put the second screw in. Try to line that bad boy up. Okay. We've got all our gaskets in place, and we'll tighten these down. Okay, and tighten up this top screw. And now the camera's in place, so we'll go inside and we'll do our follow-up, and we'll talk about what I like about the camera, what I don't like about the camera. We'll see how it looks on screen, and then we'll say bye-bye. So we'll see you inside. So you've gotten a chance to see how I installed the HisVision secret camera, and this is how it looks on my monitor. This is it right here, and this is it blown up. Basically, I didn't get a chance to finish this video earlier. The color on it looks really, really great. It's 1080p, and it looks way better than any of the other cameras that I have up. I give it 5 stars on picture quality, but I have some concerns as far as the overall construction, and let's take a look at those concerns right now. I actually like the camera's design. It's got a very, very sleek look, but as to how watertight it is, I have no idea. Only time will tell. But the one thing that I didn't like, as I said, was the actual camera mount, which allows for water intrusion on the bottom and on the top. If you have a direct rain and the water is coming down on the top of this, water could seep back into the box that I'm connecting it to. One major concern I have is this front cover. Now, this part right here is made out of plastic. This here, the lens, is actually glass. But I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and the weather sometimes gets to be 120 degrees outside. It gets really, really hot. My concern is that possibly this plastic will end up warping. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Also, it seems to be pretty soft plastic. As you can see, there's a few scratches in it already, and that was just wiping it down with a soft cloth. This could be a concern later on in the camera's life. Well, thanks a lot for watching. I'm Jeff with AZ Camera Reviews, and as always, please like us, please share us, and most of all, please subscribe. Until next time, bye-bye.